movies. No matter what you want to call it, the film industry is a large part of our lives. It is a massive corporation earning millions, if not billions of dollars in revenue. It has created some of the biggest stars, not to mention some of the biggest technical achievements in our world. But how did it come about? Film has a long and storied history, and it reaches all the way back to more than 100 years ago, and it touches upon more aspects of our life than we'd even think. So let's begin at the very beginning with the invention of film. Pull up a chair, make some popcorn, grab something to drink, and let's enjoy a little movie night. What you just saw was the first movie ever. It's called Horse in Motion, and it was done on a zoetrope. Now, zoetropes are the first essence of film. Before zoetropes, all there was still photography. The zoetrope technically came about in around the Civil War era as a way to display battlefield photos in a new manner than just looking at someone's very morbid scrapbook. The Horse in Motion film was created by a British photographer named Edward Muybridge, spelled very funny. Believe it or not, he came up with this movie to help settle a bet. In October 19, 1879, American businessman Leland Stanford had a bet going on with some of his colleagues that while a horse was galloping, at some point, all four hooves would be off the ground. So he commissioned Edward to take photos of horses galloping and prove his point. Edward put all of these images into the zoetrope, and much like how when you go through a flip book you could see an animation from all of the still images, they were able to see that a horse did indeed put all four hooves off the ground, therefore winning the bet for Leland. I wonder what he won. It was in the 1870s, so sarsaparilla sodas? The very next year in 1879, with the help of Leland, Edward actually created a new device that helped to project the zoetrope images. This was called, and it's a very odd word, zoogyroscope. It was also known as the zoopraxiscope or the zoographoscope. Now, if no one's seen what a zoetrope is, it's basically like a carousel. You have a whole bunch of images in a circle and you look through a viewfinder. When you spin it, just like our flip book metaphor, you'll see the images move. The zoogyroscope, we're going to continue to call it that, was a lot like the zoetrope, but instead of a carousel, more of a wheel. It was a big circle with a bunch of panes of glass on which each pane someone had drawn an image. A light was shown through one of the panes and then the whole thing was spun with a hand crank. The light would go through the pane and reflect on a wall. And that was how they were able to project their zoetrope, zoogyroscope, whatever you want to call it, movies. An interesting thing is that because all the images were spun on the zoogyroscope, whenever they painted the images, they actually had to compensate for the warping by drawing them all elongated. In the same year, on the other side of the ocean, in France, another development in film technology was coming about. The chronophotograph was invented. The chronophotograph was invented by French physiologist Etienne Jules Marie in the same year that Edward is making his zoogyroscope. This was able to take burst photos, at least what we understand as burst photos. It was able to take upwards of 12 images a second. With this new burst photo capability, they were actually able to take pictures of things in motion, like someone running across the finish line. Back to America, in the year 1890, a somewhat well-known inventor named Thomas Edison came up with a new machine called a kinetograph. The kinetograph is definitely considered a film camera. Though it is rudimentary, it's not like the zoetrope, which no one can look at that and think, that's a camera. In 1892, Edison and his assistant, William Dickinson, created another machine that helped synergize with their kinetograph to project the images that the kinetograph is able to capture. It was called the kinetoscope. They had some very solid theming. By 1894, the use of Edison and Dickinson's, not the authors, kinetograph and kinetoscope brought about the instance of kinetograph parlors, which is kind of what a movie theater was. The very next year, back in France, technology is progressing much in the same way it had before, with burst photos. The cinematograph, I know that sounds weird, but that's how it's spelled, was invented by Auguste and Louis Lumière, and they actually created, based on their invention, an entire company used to produce very rudimentary films. The cinematograph is able to take 16 images per second. This equates to our understanding of frames per second, which runs through animations and movies and video games and everything in between. Fun fact, early cartoons like Popeye by Max Fleischer and very early Disney ran at 12 frames per second. So this cinematograph had a smoother look to it, a smoother animation than early drawn cartoon. The films that the Lumiere brothers created were, like I said before, rudimentary, but still incredibly interesting. They showed people leaving factories, trains pulling into stations, people going about their daily life. And I guarantee that if you've seen any of those Edwardian movies of people walking around the streets or rolling around on their penny farthings and just living their wonderful Mary Poppins life, it was filmed on a cinematograph. From the mid-1890s to the mid-1920s was when silent film really took off. And we're going to call it silent film because at this point, they could not put sound into film. Anything captured by the Lumiere brothers on their cinematograph or shown in those kinetograph parlors by Edison had no sound in it. The very first films were actually done by the Lumiere brothers and Edison. The Lumiere company came out with A Trip to the Moon, which was 18 minutes long and directed by Georges Méliès, and the Edison company came out with The Great Train Robbery, which was only 12 minutes long. Any movie prior to this, and there are a couple, were about 2 minutes long and usually featured people standing around their garden playing croquet. These are actual movies. It has a narrative, it's a work of fiction, and it lasts longer than a Super Bowl commercial. This began the era of the silent film. Although they weren't precisely silent, there was no speech in them, that's going to come much later. But they were able to put music and sound effects. Although in the very beginning stages of the era, they would just display the film on the theater and have a live band in the orchestra pit playing along at key moments, like how some theatrical performances do even nowadays. See Chicago. The first films actually have sound, and by sound I mean baked into the film and played by the live orchestra that's down the aisle, was in 1900 in France. These are just collections of short little clips of people going about their daily lives that we talked about previously. The sound of these films could break sometimes. Yes, there was sound in the film starting in 1900, moving on up. And even if you look at the very early silent films, there's some in the 19-teens, there's ones in the early 1920s. Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin are starting to get around at this point. It wasn't until 1923 that music and sound was successfully put into film without any hiccups. And then later on, in 1927, is when we're actually going to start to see speech integrated in film without any mess-ups. The silent film era isn't all just hilarious slapstick brothers trying to get through doors and beautiful starlets weeping whenever villains tie them onto train tracks. There were a lot of limitations in the genre. The color, the costuming, the lighting, this all had to be carefully done because of the way that film worked back then. And that is what we will touch upon next time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this brief foray into the very earliest history of film. Going on from now, we will learn a couple more things about the basic history of film so that we will have a nice foundation for everything we see nowadays. We can't discuss the latest MCU release or the newest Oscar bait drama without knowing how they even get speech to play on a movie. So, I will see you on our next movie night.